Hi, I'm Sitsi Brandy, co-founder, CEO at GitLab, and this is the quarterly AMA with new hires. Sarah, you have the first question. Thank you for that.
Yes, of course. Hi, Sid. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really great. Thanks for hosting this. So for my first question, there's a little bit of context, so I'll just go ahead and jump into reading it.
Please.
The team certification was a light bulb moment for me in understanding that GitLab is not just another remote company, but rather has a fundamentally different operations focus versus the more standard workplace focus. This was a daunting yet empowering moment for me to realize how much agency I have as an employee. And it finally clicked for me why my managers, Matt and Jesse on the legal team, emphasize the onboarding process and familiarizing myself with the handbook so much. So my question is, this was super helpful for me, this certification. So my question is there a reason the team ops certification is only recommended and not a mandatory requirement for onboarding?
That is a great question. I have been pushing creating team ops, deeply involved creating team ops and pushing it. So I didn't feel well, empowered is a strange word. I'm a CEO. I can decide, but it's always like you got to be a bit cautious, like forcing your pet projects on other people because you might be biased because you have kind of the IKEA effect. You made it, and you think you value it more highly than other things that you didn't create. So I didn't push to make it mandatory, but this is all the prompting I need to take this thing to Rob and say, well, Rob, other people think this is a great idea. What do you think of it? So thank you for that. I will take that to the people department and see what they say.
Thank you, Sid.
And I'm so sad that the IKEA effect didn't end up in the notes, but Leaky's gonna that afterwards. Thank you, Leaky. Patrick. Patrick, if you're verbalizing, we can't hear you. Let's move to, well, Sarah, you have question number 3. Thank you.
Yes. My next question is, do you experience or have you experienced imposter syndrome? And if so, what are some practices or resources that you use to confront the syndrome?
Cool. Certainly. So imposter syndrome, trying to describe it, is the feeling like, hey, I'm not qualified to do this. And the only reason I'm tasked with doing is that the other people didn't find out yet how bad I am. I think it's important to kind of surround you with good people. And for you all, that is hopefully your managers. And what you can do is go to your managers and say, look, am I doing a good job here or not? And can you maybe give me feedback more frequently or more detailed, or can we do a co-working session? Because I'm not sure I'm up to par here. I think in my case, it's a couple of things. We hired a really good and experienced board at GitLab. Those are kind of, I don't have one manager, but the rest of the board is kind of my management. I'm accountable to them, and they review my performance. Some startup founders hire kind of weak boards so that they are more likely to kind of stay in power in their startups. I've never done that. I've always hired like the most experienced and very opinionated people who knew what they were doing, so that there'd be more scrutiny on me. But that allows me to think like, hey, if I'm not doing a good job, they would notice and they would do something about it. The second thing is that they write a very thorough performance review every year with after doing lots of interviews, and it's there's a lot of things that I didn't do right and things I should work on, and that gives me some confidence that like, well, someone's paying attention here. Also, I've always worked with a CEO coach, so anything that I'm like not sure about, if it's kind of too, you don't want to kind of go to your, I don't want to go to the board with everything. Also because it's like not one person, but a group of people. So sometimes you can go to a specific board member, but like CEO coach is great. Because it's someone kind of who's not your boss, who you can tell problems to. So if you feel like you really benefit from a coach, there is, as your manager, there is sometimes coaching budget available. And the last thing is kind of, in a startup, the CEO is the only person who's allowed to be unqualified on the job. But they should catch up really quickly. But you compensate kind of for your own inexperience by hiring people who are qualified and have done that before, have a lot of experience.
I love that answer about surrounding yourself with really strong people. So thank you.
Thank you too. And I think, yeah, we have a very strong legal department. So hopefully it's the same for you. Angela.
Hi, Sid. I have a question about the handbook. I've spent many hours now, as we all have, in there, and I'm realizing how fundamental it is to everything we do. And I'm just curious about how it's maintained, or yeah, beyond the individuals and everybody who contributes to it on a regular basis, but just as an aggregate, the overall maintenance. There's a lot of pages. I don't know what the count is now. Thousands of pages.
About 3,000 right now.
Yeah. So yeah, just curious about quality control and sort of how that's being managed. As I learn about safe content, I'm just wondering, yeah, is there a team that's helping assure that, we're publishing what should be published? Yeah, just generally like usability improvements, opportunities to just evolve it, I suppose, going into the future to make sure that it's sustainable for us all.
Thanks. Great question. Ownership used to be with the chief of staff team. What's now the office of the CEO, so kind of the people reporting to me. That stopped a couple of months ago, and I think it would make sense for L&D at GitLab to take over, because I think it's a learning and development resource at GitLab, a really important one. And this is a great prompt to ask people department if that's a possibility. So I'll take that up. Thanks, Aaron, Angela. Like, you're making it very easy to do the things I should be doing anyway, but kind of dropped off my radar. So really appreciate it. Julie, thanks for joining GitLab. You want to verbalize your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, Sid and everyone. I'm super excited to be at GitLab, so thank you for the opportunity. I just joined the finance organization. My question is around the amazing growth that we have right now, Sid. What are your thoughts on where we need to continue the company focus so that we can keep up the momentum?
Yeah, lots of things. Proper accounting really helps. We got a few material weaknesses that we like to not see in the future anymore. I think if you talk about it from a product perspective, it's a great execution on AI is important. That's AI functionality within the product, like, Duo Pro, Duo Enterprise. It's enabling our customers to use AI, model ops, for example. It's getting our self-hosted customers to a SaaS service. And for our bigger self-hosted customers, dedicated is a great option for that. It's allowing our customers to replace more point solutions. We recently acquired Oxide to make our security offering even better and replace even more point solutions there. Our enterprise agile planning is a great way to replace Jira and get the whole flow within one application. If you look at our go-to-market, it's getting even closer to our enterprise customers. The bigger a company is, the more requirements they have for software development, the more point solutions they use, the more point solutions we can replace with GitLab. The more we do that, the more we can speed them up, typically 7 times faster cycle time. And those customers don't just require the product, they also require services to properly implement it. They require a training budget to train their people on GitLab. So getting better at that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie.
Hi, yeah, I'm wondering what you think about the CEO Shadow program for new people. I've actually already signed up, so I'm kind of locked in, but I'm wondering if you think people should wait a while before signing up usually. Do they get more out of it, or do you think it would be great for the new people here to sign up? Thanks.
Thanks for signing up. I think you did the right thing. I think the one thing that can be a bit jarring if you're really new is that there's already a lot of new stuff that you're dealing with. And for the kind of less technical team members, which is not you, you're a backend engineer, but for the less technical team members, like getting used to like making a merge request or something like that can be a bit hard. But I think it's actually a way to kind of onboard much better and quicker. So I think it's great. Thanks for signing up. Patrick, are you on?
Yes, I'm on.
Awesome.
My question adds up to Julie's question a little bit. I wanted to ask you what your key learnings are from GitLab's international expansion. This can be anything business related, right? So, for example, people management or consumer behavior in different countries. And following up on this one, if you were to launch GitLab in a new country, what do you think would be the 3 most important factors to consider in order to be successful?
Yeah, great question. Thanks for that. Different countries are different. There's different levels of GitLab usage. There's different kind of propensity to buy software, maybe. Like some countries like are more used to paying for some software, some are less. There's different purchasing power, although we still have kind of worldwide pricing, but we've recognized that the purchasing power isn't the same everywhere. Obviously, there's different languages, like having local language support people for support. There's different ways of marketing things. There's different ways of selling things, both our sellers and how they interact, but also how much sales get done through partners and how those partner sales work. On our side, it's really important that sales, marketing, and support are all aligned on like which countries are we doing what. Like if we're doubling down on a certain country, it's really important that all 3 of them kind of double down at the same time. Does that address your question? Feel free to ask follow-up questions.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Nathan.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I'm just recovering from a cold, so like to sound a little raspy. But my question is, what are your thoughts on how teams should be collaborating together towards integrating AI features within their own domains? And it's not just like providing AI features through Duo to customers, but like how should other engineering and maybe non-engineering teams should be like trying to work together to, I guess, integrate AI features into their existing products?
Yeah, I think the zooming out a little bit, I think that what we've learned is that AI is not just one feature. It's not just kind of code suggestions. It's throughout the application. We're proud to have kind of addressed the most use cases with GitLab of any software platform. It feels like there's an example behind your question. If you're comfortable giving an example, I'd love to hear what you're thinking about.
Yeah, I guess we had like a meeting about discussing with other teams about using AI features within their products. And I guess some teams have their own OKRs that they're like interested in doing. And I'm just like wondering how kind of, I think we've gone to some different good ways of collaboration, but just like in general, what are like, I guess, other teams trying to do and how we can integrate and get solve problems and deliver for, I guess, customers in that sense.
Cool.
If that answered.
I don't see any other questions for the live stream. Oh, Dan has a question for the live stream, and then in the private stream, we'll get back to you, Nathan.
Okay.
Dan.
Hey, Sid. I'm very happy to be here. My question is around tech in general. Every day we hear news stories about layoffs. There's a lot of challenges, just given macroeconomic conditions with high interest rates and things like that. I'm curious about what your thoughts are, given what's going on in the tech industry and how GitLab can continue to thrive in light of those conditions.
Yeah, I think what's happened is we went from kind of a zero interest rate environment to higher interest rates. And that means that companies cannot spend as much towards the future as they used to be. And a really important part of spending towards the future is R&D spend, and really important part of that is software spend. So I think that's why we're seeing those pullbacks. I do think if you look at it long term, I think software is the way to make things more efficient and better. Software being both AI and code. So I think long term you'll see software expanding, and specifically about the impact of AI. AI is making people who work in software more effective, and I think that will lead to more demand rather than less. Does that address your question?
It does. Thank you.
Thanks so much. We'll end the public stream here. Thank you.